Evangelicals were enraged recently as we witnessed Donald Trump flip-flopping on various issues related to the sanctity of human life. Donald Trump has promised to be the most pro-life president in our generation, and he's mostly lived up to that, which is why evangelicals were rightly angry to watch him be wishy-washy, to flip-flop on this issue. But I think the flip-flop actually was a good thing. Here's what's going on. In November of 2024, Florida voters will go to the polls, and when they vote, there will be a proposed amendment on the ballot. Amendment 4 will basically allow abortion in the state of Florida all the way up to the point of birth. All restrictions and prohibitions on abortion will be virtually eliminated. Trump was asked about this particular amendment. Trump is a resident of the state of Florida, and he is presumably going to vote in the state of Florida. Was asked what he intends to do when it comes to voting on Amendment 4. And he didn't give a clear answer. We would expect the most pro-life president of our generation, most pro-life president in our lifetimes, to unequivocally condemn Amendment 4. But he didn't do that. Again, he made these very wishy-washy comments. Within 24 hours, several prominent, influential evangelical leaders voiced their frustration. And this sort of set off a firestorm on X. Within 24 hours, several well-known, prominent evangelical leaders voiced frustration about this, and it set off a firestorm all over the internet. Trump was, in essence, being blasted by many pro-life evangelical leaders for this wishy-washy issue. And very soon thereafter, Trump then came back and said, no, I intend to vote no on Amendment 4, which is what we would expect from any pro-life leader. And of course, many people have come back and said, well, this is just evidence of Trump flip-flopping. He's not genuinely pro-life. He doesn't really care about this issue. He's just pandering to the evangelical vote. He's just pandering to pro-life voters. And I would say, yes, he is. He is pandering to people like me. And I actually think that's a good thing. I want him to pander to me. I want him to do things that I want him to do. Do I believe that Donald Trump is genuinely pro-life, that he genuinely values every unborn child the way I value every unborn child? I do not believe that. I do not think Donald Trump is thoroughly and genuinely pro-life in the way I wish he was. However, what we've seen is that he is indeed willing to champion legislation and ideas, and more importantly, appoint judges that do value unborn life the way I value unborn life. He is willing to do what he needs to do to get elected, and that means doing things that I want. I've said this in previous videos. I've said this on the internet. I've said this publicly and privately. I don't think Donald Trump is a great example we ought to follow, ethically or morally speaking. I've said this in previous videos, and I'll say it again. I believe that Donald Trump is morally bankrupt. He is not the type of man that I think I would ought to model my lifestyle after. However, Donald Trump is willing to champion ideas and policies that I like. He is willing to give me things that I want, that I think are good for our country. He's actually listening. When he flip-flops or he's wishy-washy and we voice our concerns, he listens and he corrects himself in line with what I think he ought to be. Do I believe in his heart of hearts he's changed his mind? No. But outwardly he's changed. And ultimately, the policy of our country is not governed by what's happening in his heart of hearts. The policy of our country is governed by what he actually does outwardly. This means that it's good to voice your opinion. When a politician does something that you don't like, it's good to complain about it publicly. It's good to be enraged to some extent. Some people would say we should never do that. It's a waste of time to talk about it. But in this instance, it actually worked. It got him to change his mind. He came out and said Amendment 4 is bad. And there will be people in Florida who vote against Amendment 4 because he came out and said that. That's a good thing. I have a suspicion that Donald Trump is thoroughly concerned with his legacy. Maybe it's because he's insecure. Maybe it's because he's got narcissistic tendencies. I don't know what it is. But he seems to be someone who genuinely cares about what people think of him some of the time. I think he really cares about what people will be saying about him 50, 70, 100 years from now. He cares deeply about that. And if I am willing to go to social media and say something negative about his wishy-washiness, he recognizes that could impede what people think about him in the future. And that will motivate him to act the way I want him to act. In this case, his flip-floppiness, his wishy-washiness worked to our advantage. So my recommendation to evangelicals, keep the pressure on. Anytime Donald Trump or any politician who claims to be pro-life doesn't do what we think he ought to do, let's voice our frustration and let him know, pander to us, give us the policies we want, or you might not get elected. Hey, if you like this video, hit the like button for more videos like it. Hit the subscribe button for more.